Right, so I wanted to redo my iPad 3 video because it was way too long and didn't really cover some of the main points that was actually like from the keynote, which is a bit rubbish. So I'm going to redo that and probably make the other video private. So one of the key features of the new iPad, which is what Apple are calling it, they're not calling it the iPad 3, which is what we all thought they were going to do, is the new Retina display, which is a 2048 by 1536 resolution display, dishing out some 3.1 million pixels, which is ridiculous. That is for those of you that know the resolution of HD TVs, that's actually higher than HD TV. So you're looking at most HD TVs, HD from the picture are 1920 by 1080, and this display is actually higher than that, and on a 9-inch screen it's just going to be absolutely ridiculous. So the next feature is the A5X chip, which is a new chip in the iPad 3, or the new iPad as Apple are calling it. And basically that is the same CPU as the iPad 2 with quad-core graphics, and that really is the only difference. That quad-core graphics allows Apple to push out that resolution to the Retina display, and also keeps the battery life the same and things like this. So it makes things, it uses battery life better and manages power better and blah blah blah. But the key thing here is to get the Retina display to be pushed out, because obviously that takes a lot of graphics processing, which is why they put up the graphics in that. The next feature is the new iSight camera. Apple calling it an iSight camera because it's a camera that you'd be able to use to replace your standard camera, so like they did with the iPhone. We're getting 5 megapixels, which is pretty good for a tablet. Don't know why you'd actually want to. I suppose just because you can. There's not really any real reason or need. But they're just upping the camera for some benign reason. Taking a photo with an iPad just looks stupid, but there you go. Full 1080p recording as well, which is quite cool. And then they're going to take the lens that they put on the new iPhone 4S, and they're going to chuck that in the iPad. And the next thing really only is relevant to American customers because of the 4G that's now coming to the iPad 3, or the new iPad. And that basically is going to be 4G LTE, including as well prior, sort of downgrading from 4G, getting 3G HSDPA as well, which seems to be a bit weird because 3G HSDPA has been around for ages, and most Android fans have had that since the year dot. So it seems weird that they're including that now all of a sudden. But 4G LTE would be amazing. You're going to get insanely good speeds. In the UK, it's only been trialled up the line somewhere, I think Birmingham, places like that. So you will have to wait, unfortunately, before they actually probably raise the spectrum across the board. But yeah, obviously our American cousins will actually be able to get the 4G, proper 4G LTE will be fantastic and super fast. So dictation is coming to the new iPad. But it's not going to be like Siri, it's going to be like the keyboard dictation in Android, and it's going to be keyboard dictation anyway, so you can tell it to write out your emails, and you can tell it to search things and things like that. But they're not like Siri, you basically it's sort of attached to the keyboard, so it's a bit different from that. In terms of size and weight, the new iPad is actually slightly heavier and slightly thicker than the old iPad, coming in at 9.2mm compared to 8.8mm, and those of you of the American persuasion, the new iPad is 0.37 inches compared to 0.34 inches for the iPad 2. Weight-wise, this is just the Wi-Fi only version I'm comparing here. I'm not comparing the Wi-Fi and 3G or Wi-Fi and 4G. Weight-wise, we're coming in at 652 grams for the new iPad compared to 601 grams for the iPad 2. For those of you of the American persuasion, that's 1.44 pounds for the new iPad compared to 1.33 pounds for the iPad 2. So there's a bit of a difference there, but nowhere really to break your back when you're carrying it in your backpack. Costing wise, the new iPad will follow the same scheme as when the iPad 2 came out, so starting at 399 Great British Pounds or $499 for those of you in the US of A. And they've dropped the iPad 2 to 329 Great British Pounds, which is $399 if you're in the US as well. So quite worth picking up an iPad 2 now. Definitely, especially when most people won't really necessarily need the increased iSight camera and the increased Retina display. So it's definitely worth picking up if you can for a better price, really, and also save some money and save some dollar bills, etc., etc. And that pretty much is it. Obviously my justification for getting the iPad, or the new iPad, because that's what they're calling it. They're not calling it the iPad 3, they're just calling it the new iPad, or just iPad. The reason I'm getting it is because of the Retina display, because that's going to be insanely good. It's going to make images pop and just make it so much better. Of course, like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter as you chill. Apart from that, happy computing.